Hello and welcome to the Checkmk YouTube channel. My name is Simon from the Checkmk team. I'm the founder of Robotmk and the product manager for synthetic monitoring. In the last video, I've introduced you into the topic of synthetic monitoring, robot framework and Robotmk. And lastly, we have created our first web-based end-to-end test, which performs a simple Google search. And in this video, I'm going to show you how we can now integrate this test into Checkmk with the help of Robotmk. Let's get started. This is the Windows system which we will use as the test client for Robotmk. In the last video, we have developed this test case here, ZMK Google search. And the first and only thing you have to do on this machine is to place this folder in a so-called base directory for Robotmk. Just copy this folder, and I always used to create this folder directly under C and give it the name robots, but you are free to use another name. Paste it in here. So that's all. If you are storing your robot framework test cases in a version control system like Git, you can also do a Git clone directly in the robots directory to have the folders in here. Now we go on to the Checkmk system and create the bakery rule. The bakery rule is what configures the Robotmk scheduler. So it creates a JSON configuration file, and it also deploys the binary of the Robotmk scheduler as well as the RCC binary, which I explained you in the last video. The bakery rule can be found in the setup menu when you search for the term robot. Then choose the rule Robotmk scheduler for Windows. And now we add a new rule. The first thing you have to enter is the base directory of Robot Framework projects. This is the folder where we pasted the folder into which contains the Robot Framework project. This is C robots. And then we have the concept of parallel plan groups and sequential plans. So what is a plan? A plan is everything you can see here in the marked section. A plan doesn't only contain the path to the robot file, it also contains parameters which are related to the Checkmk monitoring. Everything you can see here forms a plan. The Robotmk scheduler doesn't execute robot framework suites directly, it executes the groups in its own interval. In this example, 1200 seconds and 1800 seconds. And inside of each group, there are the plans which are executed in series. So before we now configure this plan, we set an interval for this execution group. An interval of 3 minutes is okay here. Application name is a field where you can specify a name for the application you are currently testing. In our case, it's the Google search. Relative path to the test suite is the path in relation to the robot base directory. Relative path is the path to the robot file which the scheduler should execute. You can copy this by just holding the Shift key and right-click on the robot file. Then you can copy as path. Paste the full path in here and then just delete the path which is already defined by the base directory. So in the end, the path to the robot framework test file is formed by the base directory plus the relative path to the robot file. Execution configuration means how much time the Robotmk scheduler will allow a single attempt of robot framework to be finished. 1 minute is enough for our short Google search. Robot framework re-execution is a special feature which was already contained in Robotmk version 1. In case of an execution with a failed test, you can allow Robotmk to re-execute a suite or respectively the failed test for a certain number of times. And in the end, Robotmk will merge all the results so that it looks like a single execution happened. If you have test cases which are dependent on each other, for example, when test case number 1 performs a login and all the subsequent tests depend on the logged in user, you can choose the complete strategy. We don't need the re-execution right here. The next field is the automated environment setup via RCC. This is enabled by default because we didn't install any Python on the target machine. We are relying on the RCC binary, which builds the environment for us. And the path to the robot YAML file is given in the same way as the path to the robot file. Just specify the folder name and then robot.yaml. Environment build out specifies how much time RCC is given to build the environment when the scheduler starts up. 10 minutes is way enough. Robot Framework Parameters is a special option to specify parameters for Robot Framework itself. So this is a collection of the most common parameters which you probably will use in conjunction with Robot Framework. For example, selecting different tests, include, exclude them. You can also pass special variables to Robot Framework. For example, if you have a Robot Framework variable which sets the language for example, to connect to a certain URL, a German or an English one, then you can specify the language variable in Checkmk and pass a value to it, and this value will override the variable inside of the Robot Framework test. We don't need this right now. Variable files and argument files allows you to specify a file which contains, for example, a lot of variables or arguments which are not listed here. Robot Framework has a lot of possibilities on the command line, and this is only a small part of them. Execute plan as a specific user means if you have a test which should test, for example, an SAP UI or Microsoft Outlook or something, so anything which is installed on a user desktop, then you can choose to execute the Robot Framework test as a specific user. For example, if I am currently logged in on this machine, then the scheduler will start this test in my user context, and the robot test will start the application on the current desktop. If this is unchecked, everything runs under the same account as the Checkmk agent. Piggyback is something I think I don't have to explain most of you. It just allows you to assign the results of Robot Framework to another host. And in the end, cleanup of working directory means the age or the number of Robotmk executions after Robotmk will delete the old working files. And in the end, you have the possibility to specify a special RCC profile. This is needed if you have a company proxy and RCC has to connect via this proxy to the internet in order to download the package dependencies. So let's see if we have everything. Let's save the rule. Save the configuration. And after that, we can now go to the agent bakery and bake a new agent. The agent bakery now creates the JSON config file and includes it together with the RCC binary and the scheduler binary in a new MSI installer especially for this host, which we now download. Okay. We can now install this agent. And now I'm opening the Task Manager to show you in the Details tab that there is already the Robotmk scheduler running and also RCC. We can now change back to the Checkmk system and do a first discovery on the host and see what gets discovered. Choose the service discovery from the hamburger menu. And we see now that there is one single service discovered, RMK, which stands for Robotmk, scheduler status. Let's accept that and save the configuration. The scheduler service is very important for you as a Checkmk administrator. It informs you if there are severe errors with the RCC environment building, the general setup of the scheduler, or something. Let's see if the result is really okay. In the service details, we can also see the current plans which are scheduled inside of the scheduler. And there is one single plan, Google Search, CMK, Google Search. With a scheduling interval of only 3 minutes, there is a chance that meanwhile the scheduler has executed our new robot framework suite. Let's do another discovery and let's see if we get more services now. Perfect. We have 2 more services. Let's just accept them and save. And then I open the Windows host again to explain you what we now got. We got 2 new services. We got a plan service and a test service. Again, the plan service is something for you as a Checkmk administrator. It will inform you if there is a problem with the execution of this specific plan, or if the result of this specific plan is too old. For each test case which is inside of a robot framework suite, you will get a specific test service discovered. Our robot framework file contained only 1 test case. This is why we are only getting 1 service. Test services are the ones which are important for application administrators or the stakeholders of a certain application. They represent the state of the test which were executed by Robot Framework. In the service details, you see a graph for the overall test runtime, and you have also access to the HTML log of Robot Framework, which was also transferred to the Checkmk server. When you open this icon here, Robot Framework last log, you see the full execution log of Robot Framework, including the screenshot, of course. And you have also access to the last error log, which is always saved if there is a new error. So per test service, there are always 2 HTML log files saved, the very last one and the last error log. One of the strengths of Robotmk is that it's possible to monitor the runtimes of arbitrary keywords. So not only the runtime of the whole test, but only keywords inside of a test execution. I can show you that. You can find the specific monitoring rule for that, again with the search term robot, and then you choose Robotmk test. You can create a new rule, and there are different options. Maximum test runtime allows you to set thresholds on the overall test runtime, warning and critical. Then the maximum keyword runtime allows you to set 1 or more keyword patterns, and as soon as a pattern matches, this specific keyword node gets monitored. And it doesn't matter in which level this keyword is used, Robotmk parses the complete raw data of Robot Framework executions and will find the keywords which match to this pattern. And in the end, you can enable metrics for high-level keywords. This is a convenience function. If you have keywords on the top level just below the test level, then Robotmk will generate metrics for all these keywords which are on the same level. The other monitoring rule of Robotmk is for plans. A plan monitoring rule is important for you as a Checkmk administrator to know how much time of the timeout you specified in the Robotmk bakery is in fact used. So in that case, you get a notification if a test is running for a too long time and if there is a chance that Robotmk will terminate the execution because the timeout has reached. The thresholds here specify the levels of consumed time which will raise then a notification. Lastly, I want to give you an insight about the possibilities for visualization of data. When you are opening a single Robotmk test service, you see that there are a lot of labels. These data are also stored in the hardware-software inventory. By using them, you can create custom dashboards and views which give you a nice overview over your complete end-to-end monitoring setup. This dashboard is already included in Checkmk and gives you an overview about the status of your test nodes, status of all schedulers, your plans, and your tests. We have also included a custom view, which is a table representation of all the tests in your Checkmk installation. In this video, I have shown you the integration of an existing robot framework test into Checkmk. I have explained you the different types of services, the scheduler service, plan service and test services, and the different possibilities of monitoring the runtime in plans and tests. Thanks for watching this video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you next time.